I know why you're here. Don't worry, you're not the first to come by. The TV news crews were first. Honor student snagged in cheating scam. Film at 11. That was pretty embarrassing. Why is it that you're called an honor student only when something goes wrong? Have you noticed that nothing good ever happens to an honor student? Honor student killed in tragic car crash. Honor student struck by lightning while mowing lawn. Honor students snagged in cheating scam. It happened right here. Algebra, 4th period. Don't ask me to explain all the details. I only know a piece of the story. But if you stick around, we might finally get the whole story. Because the bell is about to ring. My name is Felix. My parents told me that the cheating scam should have taught me a valuable lesson. But they didn't quite explain what that lesson was, and I didn't ask. As you can see, I'm a real popular guy in class. My mom says I'm mature for my age, and that I'll get even more mature when I get a summer job at Taco Bell like my big brother. Although I'm not quite sure how asking strangers, would you like to try a chalupa, is supposed to make a person more mature. We took the midterm right here, 2 days ago. This is the first time we've been back in this classroom.
And here he comes, settles over the class. Though they look like just ordinary students, underneath their tense smiles and busy hands, a deep, dark secret.
Knock it off, Patty. This isn't funny.
Funny? No. But historic, yes. I predict we'll be on national news in a few days. You'll see. And I'll have the exclusive video. Well, I've heard about them cheating, but what are they really like? Come with us for a close look at America's most notorious alpha class in the segment we call...
Madeline is right, Patty. It's not funny. We're all going to be in a lot of trouble, including you, Patty.
You call it trouble. I call it notoriety. And being notorious is the fast track to getting rich. Monica Lewinsky. Dennis Rodman. Howard Stern. Where would they be? They get themselves in big trouble. Now, they're all sneaking rich. See, being in trouble isn't so bad as long as you're in enough trouble being notorious.
We've already made the local news. My mom was so embarrassed. She refused to watch it on the living room TV set. She went to the bedroom, closed the door, and watched it there with volume turned really low. As if nobody else would know if she watched quietly.
Oh, I'm gonna get Mr. Bolton's first expression when he walks in the door. Dear Diary, last night I looked up Mr. Bolton's number in the phone book. I dialed 6 of the 7
7 numbers, and then I hung up. 5 minutes later, I finally got the nerve up to dial again. This is Lindsay from algebra, I said. I'm sorry for the way things happened. There was a pause. Who is Lindsay from algebra? The voice on the line asked. Wrong number. I didn't try dialing again.
Well, I'm tired of talking about it. I'm not saying another word.
You ought to be tired, man. Let's see. I saw you on 3 TV channels last night. I hear you even did an interview for the Spanish language station.
Okay, I had foreign language as an elective. Is it my fault I try to put to good use?
Hey Mia, take it from me. Was it Spanish you were speaking?
That's not funny. Mr. Bolton will be here any second now. I heard he's history. Who? Mr. Bolton. He's history.
Wait, why is he switching to history?
No, Heather. I don't mean Christopher Columbus, 1492 history. I mean like your toast history. I mean like see you later history. I mean like don't let the door hit you on the way out history. I saw him packing boxes into his car yesterday afternoon.
Dude.
Mr. Bolton? History? That would be so totally not cool. Dear Mr. Bolton, I had a dream last night, and you were in it. I was in a Dairy Queen eating a large blizzard. You know, the one with the Butterfingers pieces? And some guy was playing a Smash Mouth song on the accordion. You were there, mopping the floors and wearing one of those paper hats. When you saw me, you said hi, and then you asked me if I could express what I was eating as a common binomial. I said, no, but I don't think the guy put enough Butterfingers in my blizzard. Then, the accordion player gave us a dirty look, and he stopped playing You Might As Well Be Walking on the Sun. Do you have any idea what this might mean? Lindsay Poppington, 4th period. P.S. I hear you got fired. I hope that's not true.
So, like, if Mr. Reed doesn't show up, can we just split?
I'll go to the office and find out.
And who elected you, Delirious, to speak for all of us?
As your class treasurer, I believe I'm the only one in here who would like to speak.
Shut up, Foster!
Maybe we should use this time to clear the air and talk to each other. Does anybody here know the whole story? I know I don't. I'll bet none of you do either. But together, we do. Think about it. From the moment they started dragging us one by one to the principal's office, we have heard nothing but gossip and rumors. Now is our chance to know the truth. We're all here. We can all tell it. The way it really was.
What makes you think people are going to start telling the truth now? I heard some people start sprouting Pinocchio noses in the principal's office. I want to know which one of us wants to snitch.
Yeah, who tipped off the principal?
None of this would have happened if somebody here wasn't a rat.
Hey, Rachel, did you repeat that line? I'm just standing on camera.
If you point that thing one more time at me, Patty, I'm going
Put
to...
the camera down, Patty. Does this look like the time for it?
Yes! Well, come on! This is the best time for... Okay, fine. I get the message. Killjoy?
So what do you say? The whole story?
Whatever.
Julie? Julie?
What? Hey, where's Mr. Bolton?
He's not coming. No one is. They said we should use the period as study hall instead.
Well, I'm out of here. Doing math is bad enough, and talking about it is like Rocky Horror minus the Rocky.
Hail, hail, for the Queen of God has spoken. Going to the Pierce Supergoto Arena. I heard they have a 2-for-1 special today for nostrils.
Unfortunately, Sally, the only thing you've got pierced is your brain.
Okay, hang on, Karina. You shouldn't leave. This affected us all. You should be a part of it too, don't you think?
Since when did school become one big
audience, give us your version of what happened during the algebra midterm.
What's the big deal about math anyways, huh? I never understood it. I mean, I understood how to do it, but I never understood why we had to do it. What value does it have in life? I first realized math was a fraud in 6th grade. That's when my dad gave up checking my math homework. At first I thought he was just getting distracted, but I caught him looking for answers in the back of the textbook. That was Rich. And it's not like he's dumb or anything. He's a stockbroker. He deals with numbers all day. But he does real stuff with numbers, not the kind of number gymnastics they call math. The reality is that soon after you learn long division, math just starts getting more and more irrelevant. And I learned something else too. Adults remember a lot of stuff about school, but almost none of the math they learned. Why? Because it's useless information. It's just mumbo jumbo, like some big joke that keeps on getting passed down to the next generation.
Excuse me, Karina, but I thought we were going to talk about the midterm. Not some.
My point is, who cares? It's just math. I am talking about the midterm, don't you see?
No.
Come on. Do I have to spell it out for you, sheep? Fine. Anyway, earlier this year I was under the guidance counselor, and he was giving me the usual brief. And after the end of his little lecture about the importance of good study habits, he said, "Do you have any questions, Karina?" And I said yes. Just one. What is the quadratic equation? Naturally, he stammers and tries to wiggle out of answering the question, but I said, "Come on, sir. I'll help you out a little bit. We're going to be solving for x in an equation best expressed by ax squared plus bx plus c equals y, with a, b, and c being coefficients of the terms in our quadratic equation." Come on. It's just 9th grade math we're talking about here. I'm sure you learned it at some point, just like you learned the Pythagorean theorem. I'll bet you still remember Lincoln is the capital of Nebraska. That Moby Dick is the story of a man's obsession with a whale. That photosynthesis is the process that allows plants to grow from sunlight. With the quadratic equation, nothing left of it. Not even the reason for learning it in the first place. So, why can't you remember that the quadratic equation is opposite b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a? I'll tell you why, because it's useless information. And then what happened? Nothing, except I don't get called to the guidance counselor's office anymore.
Karina's right. My older sister, she went all the way up to calculus. And you know what she's doing now? She works at the Gap.
Oh, I love the Gap.
She's one of those employees who do nothing but fold clothes all day, trying to clean up the messes that customers made. I mean, how much more depressing can it get?
But, like, does she get an employee discount? Because
It is so totally awesome to always have a dish about the Gap.
Heather, like, totally has a Gap between her ears.
My father started giving me grief about my grade last marking period, and I said, "Hey, Dad, can you tell me why any integer to the power of 0 equals 1? Doesn't ring a little bell? You can't remember? I'll tell you what. The reality is, hardly any of us are going to be using the math that we're learning. For nearly all of us, it's just garbage in, garbage out. For crying out loud, you don't even have to make change anymore. You just press cheeseburger at the cash register at McDonald's and it calculates the tax for you. In reality, all you need to be able to do to succeed is to be able to count out change.
Whoa. What is the reason? Going to give this discussion?
Shut
Foster Hedges III doesn't get much respect, which is odd because he really is our class treasurer. Come on, let Foster speak. We elected him. We should at least have the courtesy to listen to him.
I won by landslide.
You passed out Blockbuster Video gift certificates.
I used innovative campaign strategy.
You got the chicken pox.
I had nothing to do with that. Anyways, I believe the discussion was about whether math was useful or not, and I rise to support the affirmative.
Speaking English, Dorkmeister.
I'll make this as plain as I can be. Karina here is wrong. Algebra isn't about solving for x. It isn't about memorizing theories. Don't think of algebra as a maze of complex logic. Think of it as a stone in the river. A big, flat stone. Without it, you have a pretty hard time getting across.
Now, we talk about crossing a river.
Don't you see, Ozzy? Algebra is a stepping stone, not to higher math, but to success in life. It all starts with algebra. Look, if you do well in algebra, then you'll do well on the math part of the SAT. And if you do well on the SAT, you'll go to a good college. And if you go to a good college, you'll get a higher paying job. And you know what you can do with the money from that higher paying job? You can buy yourself the greatest thing in the world. Toy! You want an equation? I'll give you an equation. Algebra equals Porsche.
And if you fail algebra,
Would you like to try solution with that?
dear diary, Foster Hedges' father is named Jimmy. Foster is really not the third. His father just named him that hoping it would make people respect him more. It doesn't appear to be working.
It's a secret, Lindsay. You can't tell anybody else.
He told me because he wanted me to go to a dance with him.
I'm just a regular guy. See, our father, he gave the name because he said it would take you places. He's a chauffeur. He knows about going places.
The way Foster told me, well, it broke my heart. I went with him to the dance. It was awful.
Listen, Lindsay. When my father comes to get us in the limo, you have got to pretend he's not my father. It's important. Don't worry, it's like not mine.
We didn't have anything to say to each other. My fault, I guess. At least I got some good raw material for a short story. Although I haven't quite figured out how it should end.
You're not going to tell anybody about my dad or my name, are you, Lindsay?
No boy had ever kissed me before. He kissed me, lightly, on the cheek, but by the time my mom turned on the porch light, he was already walking towards the waiting limo. I could see his father, pretending not to watch. Wow, a limo, my mom said. First time, I said. She thought I was talking about the limo.
I don't buy your sellout mentality, Foster. There's no integrity in it.
Don't talk about integrity, Karina. You think you're so counterculture, you and all the other dogs. And what do? You go to the Ozfest and pay $4 for a bottle of water and $27 for some lousy t-shirt. You're no better than the so-called yuppie scum you rally against. You do all of the same things, you just do it in a different uniform.
Let's get back to the midterm. And the snitch. I say, confess now and make it easier on yourself.
Yeah, that's fine.
Hey, where is Mr. Bolton?
I don't want to know who snitched. And as long as we're all speaking freely here, I'd like to offer a different viewpoint to the ones we've heard so far.
Thelonious Lincoln. Curve breaker.
She supports behind Bolton's test. Gives the rest of the bad rap.
Curve breaker.
I admit it. I like math. The pure logic of math is what I like. It's abstract, but yet it's real in the way that nothing else is real.
Yeah, it's real. A real pain in the butt.
Remember the time we had to write an essay in language arts about opening a door and finding something on the other side?
That was cool.
I sat there, reading the question over and over again. What do I find on the other side of the door? I looked around me and most of you were running like crazy. But I just sat there. I didn't see anything on the other side of the door.
Dear Diary, my favorite scene in the movie Titanic is the one where the old woman dies and suddenly she's transformed again into Kate Winslet. She's back on the Titanic, walking into that grand foyer. All the people of her life are waiting for her, and Leonardo DiCaprio is at the top of the stairs. Sometimes, when I come to a big set of doors, I imagine myself as Kate Winslet, walking into that grand foyer, and it makes me wonder, will anybody be at the top of the stairs for me?
I mean, anything could be on the other side of the door. There's no right answer. So what's the point if there's no right answer? In math, you don't have subjective stuff like that. There's something you can grasp.
What? Where is Mr. Bolton?
He's not coming, Julie.
He's been fired.
You know, he's a test.
What? He didn't know what was gonna happen. He thought it was just gonna be me. Hey, Julie, could you talk a little bit louder and take the job out of now? My coach, got that. I'm the boy on the soccer team, and my coach says I'm the best he's ever seen. So then he says that I might be able to get myself like an athletic scholarship at a good college if I keep it up. Imagine that.
We can hardly contain ourselves, Julie.
Funny, Karina. But anyway, gotta keep my grades up, he says, because, well, I can't even play high school soccer unless I have passing grades, and I guess I'm going to be sliding a little this year.
Maybe it's because you walk around without walking in classroom against your head all day.
Maybe it's because you missed a couple of tests and you didn't make them up.
And you cut classes on days you felt like hanging out to the gym.
And you didn't turn in half of your homework.
I have no idea why I'm doing so bad in math this year. Coach finds out I have an F in religion. And I tell him the good news, Coach, is that it's a high F. But he just freaks out. He says he'll go on my permanent transcript, and then a couple years down the road, when colleges come looking for me, it'll be waving at them like some big red flag. Look at some other school for gold.
What did I tell you? Algebra is the first stepping stone to success. You just heard it again from another source.
Shut up, Foster! Don't worry, I'll say part of that answer. But just ask me who I have for algebra. I tell him Mr. Bolton, and he smiles. It turns out he and Bolton went to college together. Big whoop. But anyway, he says, let me work on it. Work on what, I wonder? And well, a few days later, he comes up to me between classes and tells me to go see Bolton in his office. I told him I'd like to, coach, but I'm really busy, and he just cut me off. It'll only take a minute, Julie.
Did you know what's going on then?
No, I mean, I'm not doing that much analysis at that point. Like, the whole time he's telling me this, I've got like one ear
on the desk.
Tells me, not even turning around. A stapled bunch of algebra problems. Start looking through them,
If you're looking for the answers,
he says.
they aren't on there. You're gonna have to figure those out on your own.
I think, okay, what's so special about that? When do you need me to turn this back into you? I asked him.
So your coach didn't even tell you.
Shake my head. No.
Julie, what you have right there, that's the straight skinny.
Are you sure he said straight skinny? What? Are you sure he said the straight skinny? Yeah, straight skinny.
Maybe you still had your headphones on and like threw the song playing.
Oh, I like the Backstreet Boys.
For everybody's information, I was listening to Rapmobile. I take my headphones all the way off, and I say, straight skinny, and Mr. Bolton looks me right in the eye and says,
Yes. Now, Julie, this right here, this is a big deal. You can't show anyone, not a friend, family member, teammate, nobody. Will you promise me that?
and I say, yeah.
The key element for all of you to keep in mind is that the words midterm exam were never spoken in this conversation. The math teacher only referred to the test as, what was it again, Julie?
The straight skinny.
Which I believe isn't an expression that is listed in the dictionary and isn't something that the average teenager would have in his or her vocabulary.
I knew sooner or later we'd get a lecture from Romaine. Her father is a partner in Johnston, Hartley, St. Clair, and Dugan. She's first in the class. She got a B once in 4th grade. That teacher is no longer in the district.
My dad specializes in commercial law. The law, he says, is all about intent. Bad acts don't occur unless there's evil intent, which is why he has agreed to represent any of us who would be interested in a lawsuit against the school district. I believe I passed his cards to everyone, did I not?
But I let Mr. Bolton down. I didn't keep the test to myself.
Quit calling it the test. If Mr. Bolton said it was the straight skinny, then you have plausible deniability. My dad said that you should never.
Shut up, Romaine! I knew it was the test just by the way Mr. Bolton looked at me. And, I mean, I was planning to do what he said, to keep quiet, but, well, and I thought about Sally, my team.
I'm not half as good at soccer as Julie is. I mean, she's awesome. I'm just a second string midfielder.
Our coach is always talking to us about what it means to be a team player, and about how the most important thing, not just in soccer, but in life, is being that invaluable team player. So, I knew what he'd want me to do. I called Sally that night. Sally?
Sure, come over, Julie. Are you sure it's a test?
It looks like a test.
And you said you called it the straight what?
Straight skinny.
I can ask my mom what that means to you.
No, don't. I don't think we should say anything.
She made me a coffee.
And Sally made me a copy. You see, I was going for her when she wrote a microscope in science class.
That saved my butt. If Ozzy didn't cover for me on the microscope,
quick enough. It was a peach, she told me. But I knew it was an egg. I never did drink another one of her milkshakes.
Excuse me, Madeline, but before you remind us of your reverence of the Ten Commandments, let me remind you, I have deceived during the test. You were copying answers out of the sheet you had hidden in the back of your notebook.
Okay, I admit I was cheating, but I didn't lie. There's a difference between lying and cheating.
Oh, I got it. Please continue.
Lying is worse. I didn't lie.
Everybody lies.
Okay. Now that gives me an idea. Okay, people. Okay, work with me for just a second of your time, please. Just a moment here, people. Okay, so I'm gonna need you to raise your hand if you don't lie.
Excuse me.
Yours. Raise your hand if you're not a liar. Sorry, that camera. Come on.
Hit that camera.
Yeah, right.
Are you slow? I said sit down.
Not seeing your hands.
Seriously.
A few fingers, but not many hands. Liars everywhere.
I'm talking about big lies. Not everybody lies big lies.
Sure.
The pastor at my church, he's not there anymore. Turns out, the woman in the photo on his desk wasn't his wife. And she didn't die in a tragic automobile accident many years ago. The pastor, he just got up one Sunday and said he's tired. Then he said,
I'd like you to meet the person I love, my real partner.
and then some guy stands up, right there in the middle of the church. And the pastor says,
Meet Steve.
My dad says that the government suspects that most people lie on their income taxes. That's why tax returns get audited by the Internal Revenue Service. The government uses the fear of being audited as a way to keep the lying game completely out of control.
there's this mom in Minnesota everybody thought was so normal. She even owned a minivan, but it turns out that she actually had a different identity and that she was really a fugitive member from of a terrorist organization from the 60s. Nixon, I'm not a crook.
Clinton, I do not have sexual relations with that woman.
Professional wrestling! What do you have against professional wrestling?
Sports alive.
Okay. Wait a minute. I agree with Madeline. Not everybody lies big lies. Not everybody's dishonest. I saw this show on television where a wallet full of money was left in the back of a taxi, just to see what the next person in the cab would do after finding the wallet. And nearly everybody returned the wallet and all its money to the person who lost it. People are just generally honest.
Felix, considering what happened out of a midterm, we don't seem to be a shining example here at Boston.
I don't consider myself dishonest. I just had access to the space kitty.
Speaking of which, how did you get the test, Madeline?
Ozzy brought it over to my house.
Okay, it was nothing like that. She close to my house, right? And I need help figuring out a few math problems. That's all that happened.
Yeah, we just worked on the math problems together.
Shut up, Patty. It's nothing like that. Seriously.
Yeah, nothing went on but solving for X.
Hey, I'm out. I'm out. I happen to know the real story here, and I know I promised you the truth, so you might as well know also.
So listen, Felix. I I could have gone to Patty's house. She's just as close, but I was hoping maybe get Madeline to notice me.
You can't say anything, Felix, but I really like Ozzy. I was so happy when he called, I even brushed my teeth for it. But nothing really happened. We just worked on the problems together. I could tell he was only there for the math.
She smelled like fresh fruit. Peaches. Maybe. I kept taking deep breaths, but I couldn't think of anything to say. Not that she would have cared. She was all tense. I could tell she didn't like me being there. I think the only reason she wanted me there was to cop the midterm out of me. I feel like such a dork. I should have gone to Patty's house.
I tried to think of something to say to him, something funny, but he was just so focused. It was obvious what he was there for. The information! I used to have his name written in a secret spot in the back of my science notebook, but after he left last night, I crossed it out.
So after that day, I got my mom to have me peaches in a lunchbox. So every day, I would sit in the cafeteria and eat a peach and then serve at Madeline. I don't know why she doesn't care about me. Like I said, I feel like such a dork.
This is why I don't have a steady girl. Way too much work. Okay, so Julie gave it to Sally, gave it to Ozzy, gave it to Madeline.
And I gave it to Jennifer.
We were planning to go band camp together for the summer.
And I did Patty. You see, we got a science project together, and I was relying on her about most materials. So I called her the night and said, "Hey Patty, I think I'm probably gonna have midterm."
Naturally, I took it and said, "Don't worry, Ozzy, I'll keep it quiet." And I did! Almost. I mean, of course I gave it to Brian. He's my best friend. What a best friend's for. I made a copy of it and slipped it to him the next day.
Dude.
I think it's the 411, Brian, but don't tell anybody else.
Dude.
And then Brian gave it to me. No, let me rephrase that. I was minding my own business in the cafeteria when Brian comes up and says he needs help working out the problems. It wasn't until about halfway through it when I realized it was the midterm and he was getting me to answer all the questions for him.
Dude.
And, naturally, I've got my eye on Thelonious. I'm a realist. I have a 4.115 grade point average and an A in math since nursery school. I know when someone's an academic threat in math. And there's only one person. Thelonious Lincoln. Fortunately, she's a disaster in language arts and a perennial low B in social studies. So she'll never crack the Romaine St. Clair strangle up on valedictorian. But she is someone to watch. I can't have a girl like Thelonious showing me up. So after scoping her out as she worked furiously on some math paper with Brian, the super dud, I figured something was shaky. We didn't have math paper, so I went right over there to take a look for myself. Thelonious, what is the meaning of this?
It's just some algebra questions Brian wanted me to work out with him.
Just some algebra questions? Looks more like just some algebra tests to me. One we haven't taken yet. Let's see, do we have any upcoming algebra tests? Oh, how could I forget? The midterm. This wouldn't be the midterm now, would it?
Romaine, I was just beginning to wonder that same question myself.
Dude.
For the sake of an argument, let's say that this is the midterm, and I walk away right now. That would know so many others in the classroom have seen it, and I will have to take it without having seen it. That puts me at a disadvantage.
Romaine, I think I know where you're going with this. So skip all the middle steps, or to put it in math terms, you don't have to show your work. Just give me your solution.
I want a copy of it on my lunch table before the bell rings.
And you won't say a word to anyone?
My lips are sealed.
I knew I could count on Romaine to keep quiet. If anyone in this class could be counted on to not pass on information to another classmate, it would be Romaine.
And I kept my word. I figured maybe 3 or 4 others in the class would have a copy of the test. Imagine my shock on the day of the midterm to find out what I thought was some big secret was no secret at all. How did it get around so quickly?
Well, after Madeline passed a copy to me, I passed a copy to Heather.
You're not gonna believe this, but I was like so totally flat on when Jennifer gave this to me. The straight skinny, I don't even know what that's supposed to mean. Old people have like such a weird way of talking. Then, unfortunately, I ran into Corinna in the hall. Corinna, excuse me, but I have a question for you. And like, maybe it's a totally rude question, but it's just really been bugging me.
Hurry up, Heather. I have to get to class.
Okay, I was just wondering if you got something for math called the gay skinny?
What are you talking about?
I was given this information and
What do you have here? I mean, this looks like a test. Where did you get this?
and I was told it's the straight skinny, but I was just wondering if there's a different batch of information called
This is too much even for you, Heather.
I mean, what made you think I couldn't keep information like this to myself. Could you? So, I passed it on to Stephanie and Mia during gym class.
I got a copy of it from Karina. I wish I did. The night of the test, when the principal called all our parents, I was sitting in my room wondering what would happen next. I could hear my dad after he left the phone. I could hear him almost whispering to my mom. Then he started walking slowly to my room, and my mind was racing, thinking about what sort of stories I could come up with. Thought he was going to be really angry. I thought there was no way I'd be able to tell him I cheated. I was thinking about cooking a big lie. Daddy, Daddy, please! I got it all wrong. There were some people in my algebra class who had the test, but not me. They were wrong about me. That wasn't a copy of the test I took out of the notebook. You'll see. That was somebody else's paper, I swear! I was all set to say something like that. But when he walked in, his eyes weren't like I imagined them to be. They weren't angry eyes. And instead, they were sad. Then he sat on my bed and stared into space for a while. Then he told me about how he got caught shoplifting when he was 15 years old.
It was a cheap keyring that said, "Have a nice day." It was the worst day of my life. Standing in front of that novelty store with a plainclothes detective, waiting for my father to come take me home.
He said,
The problem with lying, cheating, and stealing is that even when you think you get away with it, you don't. Eventually, you just end up punishing yourself. That day in front of the novelty store, I never wanted to feel that way again.
he said that he looked at me. I told him that I don't want to feel this way again. He nodded and said,
That's good. That's all I needed to hear.
and he kissed me on the forehead and walked out.
I wish that happened to me. My mom, oh my god, she went ballistic. I mean, if she grounds me any farther, I might strike oil. You know, I'd still really like to know why one of us felt the overwhelming need to snitch on everybody.
Look at me. After you gave me
away while she made a copy of it. Well, I'm no snitch. I like passing on solid information. My dad, he was in the Navy. His favorite Navy saying is,
You rate what you can get away with.
what's that supposed to mean? It means you're allowed to do anything as long as you don't get caught doing it.
Remind me not to join the Navy.
Don't worry, Karina. They aren't looking for a few good jobs.
Dude,
I tried to pass it on to Patty, but she already had it. So I asked Felix, do you have the midterm too?
I didn't. But I did get a copy from Rachel. But by the time I got home, I was having second thoughts about it. I had never cheated on a test before, and this seemed pretty close to cheating. So I called Foster. I mean, he's a student government. He has to know what to do about it. No, I am not fooling Foster. I've got a copy right here. Would you call that cheating?
That's an interesting question. Speaking as a keen observer of political sciences, I would say you're well from the grounds to use the information. I used my test case, the matter of Hillary Clinton and all those cattle breeders she bought back in Arkansas. She turned $1,000 into $100,000. People thought she must have had insider information, like this was shrewd and timely investment. However, she was never charged. I believe the advanced copy of the algebra midterm falls underneath the same category of insider information too good to pass up. And even though insider trading is covered in the penal codes, there is no criminal or civil statutes that address laying your hands on an algebra midterm before the day of the test.
In other words?
In other words, please make me a copy too.
Foster, did you pass the test on to anybody?
I did. I gave it to Lindsay. Take it, Lindsay. It's an algebra midterm. I think maybe me, you, and a few others might have it. You know, it pays to be connected. I thought I'd give it to you since you've been real nice about not blabbing about my real name. You know, when I first told you, I thought I'd made a grave mistake. But now I see, you did the right thing. You kept your word.
Dear Diary, I didn't look at those problems until I got home. When I did, I pulled them out of my bag, ready to begin working, but instead, I turned the page over and I wrote this poem. Floating down towards you, searching for the bottom of your bottomless eyes, I yearn for a landing pad, a sign that everything will be alright. But the only signs I see are question marks, and the landing pad is really just a swarm of numbers, which, like insects, begin percolating toward me, ready to swallow me in their precise indifference. I saved that page, but I threw the rest of the test out, and then I went to bed.
Wait, hang on a sec. Is there anyone who didn't get a copy of the midterm? So that means that the rat got the test and then snitched. That's pretty low.
My mom is friends with one of the women who volunteers in the office. And she said that no one here spoke to Mr. Bolton or anybody in the office about the test. The tip-off, she said, came in the form of an anonymous letter.
Oh, get this. Not only was it anonymous, but the person who wrote it didn't even put their name on the letter.
And I heard that it was typed, so handwriting can be analyzed.
I heard the letter came in the form of a riddle.
Oh, I'd love to get a copy of it for the website.
What
On the day of the midterm, we had no idea that somebody had written a letter tipping off the principal about the tests. We all came in here thinking we were about to take one of the easier tests of our academic careers. I don't think I want to keep reliving what happened to us here 2 days ago.
Me neither. The way they caught us was so cold-blooded.
About 10 minutes into the test.
More like 15.
All hell broke loose.
The principal and assistant principal came charging in the door like they were coming to get Ellie and Gonzalez.
Ellie and who?
Pencils down, hands on the desks. Now!
My dad says that those words alone give us a credible pain and suffering claim in a lawsuit.
Mr. Bullen was as surprised as we were. He just sat there at his desk in disbelief.
When the assistant principal came down the road looking for cheat sheets, I knew I had to do it. My cheat sheet was in there in my scratch the paper, so when it came to my desk, that shirt was awful.
I saw Ozzy chowing down and I thought, great idea. I thought, well, whatever. I'm not gonna get caught. So I tried ripping up my cheat sheet into tiny little pieces. That way, nobody would be able to tell that I was even cheating. So I'm like so proud of myself for having quick thinking. Because like by the time they get over to my desk, I just have a pile of confetti sitting there. So I look up at them and I smile this awesome, innocent smile. But then I see a hand hold out my cheat sheet and a voice asks,
Young lady, what is this?
and I see it's the paper I thought I was shredding. The worst part about this, though, is that I had missed watching a new episode of Dawson's Creek just to do that stupid thing with art.
Some of us thought of clever things to say.
Are Miranda rights first?
Did one of the gentlemen use your card key or something?
But most of us just sat there, like Mr. Bolton, in a state of shock.
Dude.
I didn't even try to hide my cheat sheet. I should have listened to the part of me that told me not to do this. And this might sound strange, but while I waited to be caught, I felt relieved.
Dear Diary, the thing I remember most about that day was Mr. Bolton's running shoes. Sometimes he goes running before or after class, and when he does, he leaves his shoes beside his desk. His shoes were there that day. I found myself wishing he'd just grab them, strap them on, and run away. Right then.
I had to laugh at you people trying to eat or rip up your cheat sheets. Not me. I used my head. Actually, I used my arms. Both of them. If you look close enough, you can still see the faint traces of ink. But I didn't panic. I just sat there with my sleeves down and my arms crossed. And by the time they got to my desk, I just asked, seriously, what is going on here?
It's too late for that.
But even if they didn't catch us anything, we were still sunk. They used the ones that they caught to tell on the rest of us.
Just like Watergate.
I didn't want to tell, but they got me scared. They said that I could be expelled if I didn't cooperate, that I'd end up getting left behind. I couldn't stand the thought of getting left behind.
You know, at first, I told them I wasn't going to say anything about where I got the test or who I gave it to. But they quickly brought up a provision in the student government charter that states the administrators can remove any member of government for service offenses. So, after about 3.5 seconds of deep reflection, I gave up Felix and Lindsay.
I didn't see any point in lying. I told them what they wanted to hear. Yes, I knew I had the test. Yes, I knew it was wrong. And yes, I passed it on. But I wouldn't name names. I said I couldn't do that.
Dear Diary, there were too many people in that little room. Everybody wanted to talk. Everyone except me. I wanted to leave. Please give me back my home, I finally asked.
The only thing I told them was to expect a phone call from the law firms of Johnson, Hartley, St. Clair, and Dugan. And until I had the opportunity to consult with counsel, I wasn't making any statements, signing any affidavits, or speaking on or off the record with any school employee, whether he be the principal or the night janitor.
By the time they pulled me out into the hallway, there wasn't much left to hide. Yeah, they pretty much filled out the flow chart.
We should have all just stuck together like cops do, one for all and all for one.
Or made a run for it, like O.J. Simpson.
We might have all fit in my parent Ford excursion.
Dude.
It was no use, man. We were toast. The best I could do was say I was confused about what the street skinny was. I thought it was the practice text, I said.
I just told them I was like totally confused, and they were very understanding.
Logical deniability will save your butt 9 times out of 10.
Oh, don't trick yourself into thinking that we're only going to get a slap on the wrist for this. If they fired Mr. Bolton, they're definitely going to do something to us too.
Like what?
Suspend us. Make us go to summer school. Put some kind of permanent mark on our records. It could be the kind of thing that follows us and then resurfaces when we least expect it.
Academic herpes.
You know, politically speaking, I think a certain amount of cheating has always been tolerated. I used to consider Ted Kennedy. He cheated in law school. He was kicked out for it. But you don't see that hurting his career.
Did somebody say roasting for dead Kennedys?
That's not a good example, Foster. Money solves a lot of problems. Haven't you noticed that? When people who aren't rich have mental problems, they're called crazy. But when people who are rich have mental problems, they're just called eccentric. When people who are rich did drugs while they were young, it's called a youthful indiscretion. But when people who aren't rich did drugs while they were young, they're called criminals.
The only way anything bad will happen to us is if we let them do it. The best defense is an offense. That's what my dad says. If the school administration is smart, the only thing they better give me is a letter of apology.
Don't hold your breath, Romaine. We're all going to pay for this.
Everyone here is a person who rides out.
That would be you, Thelonious. I
here?
I didn't hear Lindsay deny it.
Come on, Lindsay, we need a confession here. The bell is about to ring, and then we'll have to go to another class. Felix said this was a good way to get the whole story, so you might as well spill the beans.
Yeah.
Best Lindsay, you do it?
Hey! Quit ganging up on her!
I can't. You can't what? You can't what? You're always writing in this stupid book. Did you explain why I didn't hear? Oh, let's see. Dear Diary.
Please, Mia, those are my private thoughts. Please just give them back.
If you want it bad, you better tell the truth.
Knock it off, Mia!
What's it to you, Foster?
Give it back! There's nowhere to act! Give it back!
No!
Yes!
Hey, stop! There's no need to make things worse. I'm the snitch.
Well, there's the story. Don't look so glum. Or were you expecting a happy ending? Did you think Mr. Bolton was going to walk in and say it's all a big joke? Come on, this is a TV.
Come on, Heather, we're going to lunch. Lunch. I've only all my subjects to write.
Lindsay, why? Is there anything I can do for you, Lindsay?
Is the grown-up world like this? I hope not. Lindsay. Don't forget to turn off the lights when you leave.
Dear Diary. I did something strange today. Even for me.
Why did you do it? Come on! I need to know!
Do what, Corinna?
Don't play games with me, Lindsay! It was on that day you were volunteering in the main office. I saw you. And you saw me.
Yes, I did.
You saw me put that envelope in the mail slot.
Yes, I did.
I tried to act casual when I did it. But when you looked at me, I turned pale.
Actually, Corinna, it's kind of hard to notice when you turn pale.
But you must have figured it out after the test. You must have realized that inside that envelope was the famous anonymous letter.
bugging me. Why?
It wouldn't have felt right.
I thought I was being so funny with my little riddle. What has 36 legs, 576 teeth, and an advanced copy of the algebra midterm? Answer! Mr. Bolton's 4th period class. It was meant to be a letter to the editor of the school newspaper, which would come out a week after the test. I wanted to brag to the rest of the school about our subversive undermining of the useless study of math. I guess it seemed like a cool thing to do at the time. I should have realized the editor would turn it over to the principal. Even Heather wouldn't have done something so stupid. I guess I was just being Corinna the cynic again.
Do you remember when we were in 4th grade together?
Didn't mean to get anyone in trouble. I really didn't.
Your mom would pack you apples and mine would pack you oranges.
I wish I had the courage to stand up to what I did.
Sometimes we'd switch. You'd eat my orange and I'd eat your apple.
Why did you keep quiet for me?
Everybody seemed to want an answer, so I gave them one.
The wrong one.
The right answers have gotten this class in enough trouble. I thought maybe a wrong one might do this class some good.
But we aren't even friends.
We were. We could be. I mean, Corinna, we've got a history of sharing secrets.
But we're so different now.
Maybe. Maybe not. Corinna, I came very close to telling everybody about your letter. But then I thought about how things happen. How one event links to the next. How these small individual decisions eventually have these huge consequences. I mean, look at how the test got passed around. Everybody thought, hey, what's the harm? I'm only giving it to one person. It would have been really easy for me to tell everybody that you were the snitch. But then I got this feeling that that would be another bad decision, that would lead to another chain of bad events. I guess I want to be the start of a good chain of events somehow. You see what I mean?
It's not fair that you take the blame for something I did. I may just mess up next period. Tell everyone what I did.
That's up to you.
That's the light bulb. I gotta get to class. We'll talk, okay?
Okay. I like that. Dear Mr. Bolton, I don't know where you are right now or what you're doing, but I feel I need to tell you how things happen, how despite its best efforts, school ends up giving us quite the education, giving us answers to questions that we didn't even ask.
Dude,